This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 2197, Foolproof Strategies for Getting Kids to Talk, Part 1, by Dr. Laura Markham of peacefulparenthappykids.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our parenting leg of the week here on ORD. I'm Greg Audino, your host and narrator, and I'm here with you every single day to read from different blogs about relationship building, focusing on parenting articles on Thursdays and Fridays. This week I have a longer post for you, which I will split up between today and tomorrow. So with that, let's get right into part 1 as we optimize your life. Foolproof Strategies for Getting Kids to Talk, Part 1, by Dr. Laura Markham of peacefulparenthappykids.com. Quote, "Most families tend to rush through dinner, especially the kids. They can't wait to get back to their computers and cell phones and iPods. But they'll stick around if the conversation is interesting. And the biggest determinant is you. If you see yourself and your life as a crashing bore, your kids will see the same thing. But if you see your life as an endless succession of miraculous and fascinating events, your kids will be transformed by it." That's by Shmuley Boteach. How can you get your kids to open up and talk with you? Most kids talk nonstop when they're in preschool. In elementary school, many of them begin to clam up with their parents. But there are strategies to get your kids to talk with you, and the more they get used to it, the more natural it'll become. Number 1, notice the little conversation openers. Notice the little conversation openers your kids offer, and drop everything to respond, at least once they're past 8 or so. It can be excruciating to tear yourself away from what you're doing to focus on a child's question, but how you respond to his overture is crucial in building closeness. To him, it's an indication of whether he can count on you to talk when he needs you, and much more important than any conversation you try to initiate, like when you try to get him to tell you what happened at school today. Parents who have close relationships with their teens often attribute their closeness to their willingness to be available if their teen signals a desire to talk, even if it's 1 a.m. and her boyfriend just broke up with her. This can be difficult if you're also handling a demanding job and other responsibilities, of course. But teens who feel that other things are more important to their parents often look elsewhere when they're emotionally needy. And that's our loss as much as theirs. Number 2, ask non-judgmental questions that require real answers. What was the best thing about school today? Do the kids at school ever talk about boyfriends and girlfriends? Who did you sit with at lunch today? Or how did the soccer game go at recess? These questions will get you a lot further than, how was school today? Questions that begin with why often make kids defensive. Why did you wear that? Won't work nearly as well as, what do you think most of the kids will be wearing on the field trip? Number 3, don't jump in with solutions and advice. Your child needs a chance to vent, and he can't hear advice until he does. Then he needs a chance to figure out his own solutions, which is how he develops confidence and competence. If you jump in with solutions, you make him feel incompetent. I find this so hard. I always want to tell my kids what to do. I'm a professional advice giver, after all. But when we can reflect feelings and then help them brainstorm solutions, kids find us more useful to talk to, and they're usually more likely to seek us out when they have problems. Number 4, make sure you connect with each of your children every single day. Make sure you connect with each of your children every single day, alone, even if it's just for a short time. Being on hand when they come home is a surefire way to hear the highlights of the day, but anytime you get in their space and in sync with their energy level works. When they're toddlers, we call it floor time. With 9-year-olds, you might snuggle on the couch while you chat about anything from their day at school, to the coming weekend, to a TV show you just watched together. With teens, you might develop a little ritual, like sharing a cup of tea every night before bed while the two of you catch up. Don't expect your son or daughter to invite closeness or volunteer vulnerable emotions at each interaction, or when you expect it. But if you set up enough regular opportunities to be together, it will happen. Number 5, build special time with each child into your routine. Maybe dad and daughter go to a brunch once a month, or play basketball together once a week. Maybe mom and son get to catch up on his life during the drives to swim team. Kids often wait for these routine times with their parents to bring up something that's bothering them. Number 6. Hear that in tomorrow's episode. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled Foolproof Strategies for Getting Kids to Talk by Dr. Laura Markham of peacefulparenthappykids.com. And I'll be back in just a sec with my comments. Okay, and thank you so much to Dr. Laura for a great start to this post. A lot of wisdom being thrown at us already. But if it helps you to simplify it, I think one common thread tying all of her advice so far together is just showing up without an agenda, right? Everything she's talked about so far is really quite simple, as long as we can get out of our own way, not letting our preconceived notions or schedules interfere with truly connecting with our children. It's a matter of being there and being curious. If you can lead with these ideas, by the end of your conversation, or the end of your day, or the end of your week with your kids, you're likely to look back on what we've learned so far in part 1 and find that you checked all the boxes without thinking too hard about it. So whether it's this episode or another one that's list-based, it can always help to look for these commonalities if you find yourself overwhelmed trying to follow all the suggestions offered. But that will do it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening through to the end. And don't forget to come back tomorrow, where we're going to finish up this post and where your optimal life awaits.